Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, October 8th, 2018 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I am mindful of my truth evolution through these cycles. And today we are in new moon energy. We have a new moon happening in Libra at 8:47 p.m. Pacific time. So that is 11:47 p.m. Eastern time, and you can figure out your math from there. This new moon is at 15 degrees, and oh my God, this is definitely setting up some really interesting things. I'm actually going to start by looking at the Sabian symbol. So just for any of you who have not been watching me for a long time, Sabian symbols are basically just kind of images that were brought up by psychic in regards to different degrees of the zodiac. And it's so perfect for 15 degrees. The Sabian symbol for Libra 15 is circular paths. And the thing that's really coming up is the cycles. I've said this many times, and I want to reiterate this again. The universe knows what it's doing. There is this dance that's happening with the planets. And I love when I'm very good about tracking it daily because I see moment to moment, it's almost like Polaroids every second of what the universe is doing. And right now, one of the big things with this new moon is a requirement, an opportunity for us to show up and notice where we are in the cycles. So new moons are interesting because new moons are kind of a beginning of a cycle. New moons are the beginning of a 6-month cycle that end with a full moon. So the full moon in Libra. Now, I was like, I feel like I need to look up when the full moon in Libra is for 2019. And guess what? We are having 2 full moons in Libra in 2019. We are having one on March 20th at 0 degrees, and we are having one on April 19th at like 29 degrees. Alpha and Omega of Aries. And it's so interesting because, you know, Aries time, that is Zodiac New Year. That is the beginning of a cycle. So, since Zodiac New Year 2018, when was that? That moon was March 31st. The new moon in Libra then. New moon in Aries, such a beginning, such a kickoff. What have you done with the 6 months of these year? And what cycles have you been going through? And even beyond that, where is your sense of the yin and the yang in the cycles right now? Because there's been so much change and work amidst the yin energies coming in forcefully and asking our yang to show up in a different way. Where are you in regards to that? I was looking at these dates and I was like, oh my gosh, March 31st, we had just set out on our journey that was supposed to take like a week and a half. That took a month and a half at least. We had just set out on that, and that really paved the way for where we are now. So what started then that paved the way for where you're at now? And then looking where you are at now, realizing you are at the beginning. Well, you're at the end. You are at the completion of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle of 6 months that is taking you into the astrological new year, which will be like, bam, with this full moon on Libra, you know, finishing up on March 20th. That's the first day of Aries. So this is a really, really powerful cycle. And my feeling is there is much for us to leave behind in and through with this energy. Now, I know new moon is about setting intentions, but I really do feel this completion energy coming through very strong with it. The letting go of these places where we are still carrying walls, where we are still blocking the good for our life. This is where we're not fully allowing the yin energy of receptivity into our life. Where are you not receiving? And somebody commented on a post and I said something, you know, if you are struggling with receiving, notice where you're not giving to yourselves. And I think many of us have been so programmed to give to everybody else and not ourselves. This is a beautiful new cycle to set the intention to give to yourself, to release those walls where you feel not good enough, where you feel not deserving, where you've hit that glass ceiling. We'll get into that. This is the time to set down stress, and stress really fits with that as well. Stress, I love what Deepak Chopra says about stress, that stress comes when we are not fulfilling our basic needs. Now, of course, it's nice to receive from outside of ourselves, but if we are not, then again, it's a key that there's an area for you to step up for yourself. Find that balance in relationship with yourself. There is so much about relationship right now with Venus retrograde, but this is a call to a stronger relationship with yourself. So if you are feeling that stress, it's time to put down the way too much that you're doing. And it's really time to step up. Okay, how do I need to be here for myself? So this is the time to look into this. This is interesting. I have the celebration card in reverse. And my feeling is, with this card, it's what relationships are in your life that you are not enjoying, that do not support you, that do not feel good for you. This may be a call for communication and healing, which we'll dig into in the astro. He's singing. I don't know if that's hearable on the video, but he is singing in the other room. Anyway, relationships, releasing relationships that do not support. And a call for bringing in the relationships where you can have this feeling, this celebration energy, where you are dancing in the rain. You want to be in that space of celebration. So all these cards are like a release and a calling in. Besides that, I have the participation and the moment to moment. You are required to participate in this life fully balanced with your light and your dark, your yin and your yang, body, mind, spirit, soul, and heart. That is the participation that we are called for and being guided into with this dance of the planets. And yet it is a moment-to-moment thing. So remembering the energy of patience, to have patience through this. So this is quite a potent new moon energy. Not to mention, this new moon is connected to Ceres. Ceres energy is the mother energy, calling us to find that mother within us to help us in this balance. Where do you need to nurture yourself? And then it's connected as well to Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And that Neptune energy brings this sort of spiritual feeling to this sort of holiness. And I think there's this feeling like, a lot of people are like, I feel like I have these things to do and I really don't know which way to turn. That's a call to drop deeper within yourself, to listen deeper to your own soul call, because it will be through that you will get pushed into responsible action, is what I'm hearing. So let that push you how you're meant to move. If you don't know, it's just this call to tune into yourself deeper, connect to the body, mind, spirit, soul, heart, energy, connect to that. All right, so let's dig into these other transits that are happening with this new moon. We have the moon shifting into Libra tonight as I record. It's actually making its shift right now. The first connection this moon in Libra is going to make is with Saturn. And that's one of our biggest challenges, this square, because so often we sacrifice ourselves for the responsibility of the world and the responsibilities our parents and everybody in our lives have put on us. Your responsibility is soul responsibility, purpose, responsibility, aligning yourself with your highest truth. And if you're not there, that's okay. But your work is to keep shaving off things within yourself and outside yourself that keep you from there. And this new moon is definitely a big part of that. The moon then meets up with Mars, that fiery Mars energy. Mars in Aquarius, not as fiery, but Mars helping drive us from that deep desire place. Your desires are here for a reason. Now you have to find your balance in going for those desires. You have to listen to your heart. You have to listen to your yin. But this is definitely a call to feed into those energies to help, again, show you how to move. The last connection the moon makes before reaching the new moon energy is with Ceres. Again, that mother energy, a call to nurture yourself. Not a call to nurture your children, not a call to nurture your spouse, your partner, your friends, your family, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, anybody. Not a call to that. It is a call to self-nurture in order to find your balance. This is a really good night for some nice little ritual for yourself, even if it's just carving out the time for a cup of tea for yourself. Even if it's just that. Give yourself some token of that to show up for yourself. I guarantee your inner balance will thank you. After that, what we're building into is a moon square Pluto. Again, Pluto in the Capricorn. There's a bit of a power struggle going on between the world and those who are willing to stand up. And it's about facing the fears where we're willing, willing or not quite willing, to honor that passion and let us pull forward. And I have a really interesting card that I'm going to dig into in just a second. We're building into a few things. We're building into Mercury finishing up in the sign of Libra. Mercury is going to be moving into Scorpio very soon. And as Mercury moves into Scorpio, right before it finishes, it's going to be in an inconjunct, so not quite seeing eye to eye, with that Chiron energy. And so there is going to be healing. And my feeling is there may be communications that need to come up in and through this. So just be aware that we're building into these things, but you are meant to empower yourself and be empowered by that desire and by your own inner balance. All right, this card from the Divine Feminine. I have never heard of this, and I was very excited to pull this card, and I'm going to read some of it because it's very interesting. Pope Joan, the pontiff of possibilities. The possibilities are limitless because the soul is limitless. And I have to say, I grew up Catholic, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be Pope when I grow up. That was a desire at one point in my life. That went by very quickly, but it was something that I thought at one point. Pope Joan embodies the truth that all things are possible. According to popular legend, there was a female pope who reigned for 3 years in the 9th century. She was a brilliant, highly educated woman who entered the Catholic Church in Rome by cross-dressing as a man so she could be with her lover. Intelligent and quick-witted, she rose through the ranks of the church hierarchy and was eventually elected as the pope. 3 years into her reign, she was in a procession from St. Peter's to the Lantern in a lane once known as Via Sacra, the Sacred Way, and her true sex was dramatically revealed in the middle of the Sacred Way when she gave birth surrounded by a shocked and astounded crowd. That is pretty shocking. So I'm not going to go on what goes on in that, but that is a very interesting thing. All right, when your soul selects her card, we can so easily get caught beneath the glass ceiling of what we think is possible. And then we get stuck in these cycles that we go through over and over, and we even recognize the cycles, and yet we don't pull ourselves out. The truth is that everything is possible, including your deepest desires. It's hard for us to imagine just how much the divine wants for our lives, much more than we could ever hope. Pope Joan reminds us that even if we think that what we want isn't possible, it is. Or even better, there's something our soul wants for us that will give us more than we can even think to ask for. Pope Joan is assigned to trust in what you believe about yourself. Trust what's within you. Don't rely on what you see around you. Have faith. Know that the circumstances you are currently in are transformed from within. Begin to believe in a vision of your life. Cultivate the capacity to see it, to really imagine it with all your senses, and you will live into the day when it exists as reality that now surrounds you. This is a beautiful beginning cycle to do just this, to focus on that, to bring in these energies, to pull yourself out of these cycles that no longer support your highest and best growth. You've learned the lesson, but now the lesson is what can bring you out of these places and into your next beautiful cycle. Pope Joan's right hand is held in the papal blessing, a Christian mudra of benediction. The two fingers that point downward represent Christ's dual nature as both fully human and fully divine, which we are. We are all fully human and fully divine. We all embody that energy. We just haven't all realized it. The human ego is limited and lives beneath a glass ceiling. Joan demonstrates to us, though, that for a soul, the glass ceiling does not exist. Trust in what the soul knows is possible for you. This is what Joan's wry smile reminds us of. The soul voice meditation is what helps me remember that all things are still possible for me. And the intention is the possibilities are limitless because the soul is limitless. All right, so that is it for today. You can always book a reading by emailing me, mimiclark@gmail.com. You can check out my website for a few offers that I have there, GaiaBlooming.com. I've been doing a lot on my Patreon. I plan to do a State of the Astro this week where I go through and kind of look at where the planets are and what's coming up. So that'll be going up this week. And you can find that all below this video. Besides that, thank you for joining me. I hope to see you tomorrow if conditions are allowing. Besides that, the better it gets, and there is enough love in the world for you. Namaste.